temple of Vrindavan, even today, there is a form of seva that makes a first-time visitor pause for a moment and wonder. Shri Radhavallabh Lal stands before the devotees, while the presence of Shri Radha is experienced through her crown and sacred seat beside him. But how did this extraordinary tradition of divine love begin, and who was the saint who brought a new current of love into Vrindavan? In those days, Vrindavan was nothing like the town we see today. There were dense forests, flowering creepers, the gentle Yamuna, and a profound silence everywhere. And one day, along one of these quiet forest paths, a peaceful saint was walking toward Vrindavan, carrying a deity extremely dear to his heart. He was Shri Hit Harivansh Mahaprabhu, whose life teaches us that devotion is not merely worship, it is also a way of living in love. The Radha Vallabh tradition reveres Shri Hit Harivansh Mahaprabhu as an incarnation of the divine flute of Lord Krishna, as though the same flute, which once filled the world with the music of divine love, had now appeared in human form to teach love, seva, and surrender. In the village of Badh, near Mathura, a beautiful child was born to Vyas Mishra and Tara Rani. That child would later be known as Harivansh. Devotional tradition remembers his birth not merely as a celebration for one family, but as the arrival of a new stream of divine love in Braj. Some years later, the family came to Deoband, and there, the extraordinary simplicity within young Harivansh slowly began to reveal itself. There was no harshness in his devotion, only the innocence of a child, tenderness of heart, and a natural, selfless love for the divine. Then came an incident from his childhood, one that the tradition of Deoband still remembers with deep love and reverence. It is said that while the children were playing, their ball went into an old well, and young Harivansh went down in search of it. But there, he did not find only the ball. According to tradition, a beautiful dark divine deity also appeared before him. When Harivansh came out carrying that sacred form, every eye present there became fixed upon its enchanting beauty. In time, that deity came to be served as Shri Navrangilal, and young Harivansh's love for him grew deeper and deeper. Time continued to move forward. Education, family duties, and the responsibilities of life all continued, yet the love living within his heart never faded. Then came the spiritual moment that would give an entirely new direction to his life. According to the Radha Vallabh tradition, Shri Radha appeared to him in a divine dream and guided him toward the path of loving devotion and mantra. From that moment onward, Shri Radha was no longer only the object of his worship. She became his guru, his guide, and the highest refuge of divine love. The next morning, the same courtyard remained, the same people tree, the same world, yet within Harivansh, everything seemed to have changed. From this love came a beautiful word associated with his name, Hit, a word expressing pure, selfless, and completely untainted love. A love in which the devotee does not first ask, "What will I receive?" but instead wonders, "What will bring happiness to my beloved?" In time, this feeling came to be understood as Tat-Sukh Bhav, finding one's own happiness in the happiness of the beloved. But such a path of love needed a place where it could blossom, and again, only one name arose within Harivansh's heart, Vrindavan. At around the age of 32, he accepted that inner calling and peacefully resolved to journey toward Vrindavan. He carried no luxury with him, only what was necessary, the memories of his devotion and complete faith in Shri Radha. As he continued his journey, he eventually reached Chartawal, and there something happened that would completely change the course of the story. Tradition tells us that on that night, Shri Radha once again appeared to him in a divine dream, and this time the guidance was connected with what was to unfold in Vrindavan. He received the indication that he would meet a Brahmin named Atmadev, and through him, Shri Radhavallabh Lal would come into his care. Even more remarkable is that tradition says Atmadev received a similar indication that very same night, as though their two paths had already been joined. When they met the next morning, there was hardly any need for a long introduction. Their expressions themselves seemed to reveal the mystery of the previous night. And when Atmadev removed the covering from the sacred form preserved in his home, the eyes of Harivansh Mahaprabhu filled with love. Before him stood Shri Radhavallabh Lal, the sacred form that would later become the center of this entire tradition of divine love in Vrindavan. Tradition further describes that a simple marriage ceremony also took place there, after which Shri Radhavallabh Lal was entrusted to Harivansh Mahaprabhu. His journey was no longer the same, because now he carried with him the very deity around whom an entire living tradition of love would eventually grow. After many days of travel, the green expanse of Vrindavan finally appeared in the distance, and Harivansh Mahaprabhu stood silently for a few moments, simply looking toward it. That Vrindavan was not a city filled with grand temples. It was forest, Yamuna, sand, shrubs, flowering vines, and untouched natural beauty. Near the Yamuna, on a quiet, elevated place, he chose a small area for his residence and devotional service. The local Brajvasis looked on with curiosity, wondering why a place considered remote and difficult felt so dear to Harivansh. Tradition says that a bow and arrow were given to him to help determine the land, and the place where the arrow reached became the boundary of the area. With that small symbolic act, a place was established where the beautiful center of Shri Radhavallabh seva would gradually take shape. It did not begin with a magnificent temple. It began with an extremely simple nikunj made from earth, wood, creepers, and flowers. But slowly, word of this peaceful saint began spreading among the people nearby, and eventually it reached an influential man named Narvahan. He came to see for himself who this person was, whose presence seemed to be changing the behavior of those living around the forest. He witnessed no display of miracles, no attempt to impress anyone, only a peaceful man serving everyone with love. And tradition says that very peace slowly entered Narvahan's own heart. The hardness within him began to soften. Narvaha is later remembered in the tradition as one of Harivansh Mahaprabhu's prominent disciples, and his transformation helped make the surrounding area more secure. The forest that people had once considered distant and unfamiliar gradually became a meeting place for saints, Brajvasis, and those who wished to serve through love. Then came the day when the formal seva of Shri Radhavallabh Lal became the heart of that small Vrindavan Nikunj. By placing Shri Radha's sacred seat beside him, a beautiful truth was expressed. Here, Shri Radha is experienced as the highest center and refuge of divine love. This was the point where the devotion of one saint slowly began taking the form of a living spiritual tradition. And the most beautiful quality of this path was that devotion was not lived through fear, not through pressure, but through love and intimate belonging. Every part of the day became an opportunity for seva, from the early morning awakening to the peaceful rest at night. From the spirit developed the beautiful tradition of Ashtayam Seva, in which every phase of the day becomes an offering of loving service. Whether it was bhog, shringar, arti, or rest, behind every seva was one simple question: what will bring happiness to our beloved today? Here, the devotee does not search for personal pleasure. The devotee becomes joyful by seeing the happiness of the beloved. This is Tat-Sukh Bhav, placing the happiness of beloved Radha and Krishna above one's own desires. And when this love began overflowing from the heart, naturally, it also began flowing through music. From this stream, the tradition of Samaj Gayan grew stronger, where music was not simply entertainment but a form of loving seva and remembrance. Through melodies and devotional verses, devotees did not merely hear about the nikunj pastimes of Vrindavan, they tried to experience them within their hearts. Tradition also associates Harivansh Mahaprabhu with identifying and giving importance to several sacred Rasik places of Vrindavan. Seva Kunj, Vanshivat, Dher Samir, Mansarovar and other places gradually became part of the sacred spiritual landscape of this loving Vrindavan. His teachings and poetry also gave lasting form to this path, carrying both the sweetness of Braj Bhasha and the depth of Sanskrit. Works such as Hit Chaurasi, Radha Sudhanidhi, Yamunashtak and Sput Vani later became important foundations of Rasopasana. Now this love was no longer limited to Harivansh Mahaprabhu alone. His disciples, family and sevaks began carrying it forward. Generations changed, the appearance of Vrindavan changed, but the feeling of placing Shri Radha at the highest center of divine love remained alive. Even today, in Shri Radha Vallabh Temple, Shri Radha's crown and sacred seat beside Shri Radhavallabh Lal continue to remind devotees of this unique vision of love. Devotees still decorate flowers, prepare bhog and perform aarti, because here, love is not merely an idea, it is lived through seva. Perhaps this was Shri Hit Harivansh Mahaprabhu's most beautiful gift, teaching us to love the divine before asking anything from the divine. A love in which there is less possession and more surrender, less asking and more seva. And perhaps the most beautiful name for such love is Hit.